very reminiscent of a deck that Vidianto Wijaya won Grand Prix Denver with. 4 Stoneforge, a couple Snapcaster Mages, Vendilion Click, and he's got his little discard package and Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, some Lingering Souls, a handful of Force of Wills. You're actually going to find 1 main deck Supreme Verdict here to go along with 4 Brainstorms, 2 Ponders, 4 Swords, and an Engineered Explosives.
That sounds pretty stock to me.
Yeah.
Over here, Cody Napier, pretty much playing the elf list that Chris Anderson, I believe, and Riley Curran won with in Columbus.
Okay.
Obviously inspired by LSV and Matt Nass's elf list from Denver. But yeah, just looking at the main and sideboard, it seems very close to identical to Chris Anderson's list. Might be off by a card or two, but he's running the 1 crop rotation and 3 guys cradles as opposed to the 4. He has the Thorn of Amethyst in the sideboard, Cabal Therapies. Pretty much just everything you would expect, topping with Crater Hoof Behemoth in the main deck to offer the quick kill.
Yeah, and we saw the quick kill in one of our feature matches earlier today. Actually, at turn 3, Crater Hoof Behemoth. Yeah,
that's downright rude. He didn't even really get to play.
Yeah, he got to play Argothian Enchantress, and then he died. So, the beats. Elves is a deck that's actually kind of surfacing up a little bit now. When your format has become super grindy, that's what it looks like we've run into here with Jund, with Bug, and with a certain extent Rug, and your Stoneforge Mystic deck kind of keeping these combo decks in check. They're doing a pretty good job of it, oddly enough. Elves is a combo deck that stands up to hate pretty well, stands up to being attacked in the hand and having its creatures killed, with the combo of Elves Visionary plus Wirewood Symbiote being able to refill its hand fairly easily. It also has the potential to just kill you on turn 2 or turn 3. So yeah. It can play a long game, or if things go right, it can play a short one.
It does a pretty fine Jund impression, I would say. The interactions like Wirewood Symbiote, Elvis Visionary, they just kind of grind at you. You don't really get blown out. But then again, they have that combo finish where I think Anderson always described it as a beatdown deck that just threatens the combo.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And they just have to respect that. We've got a mulligan from Cody. This goes to 6. He flashed his hand before he mulliganed it to Justin, so Justin already knows what he's actually playing. Indicates these players likely know each other. Or Cody's just really friendly with the edges.
And Cody taking a mulligan to 5 here.
I think Justin's counting out 7 for him to demonstrate the difference between their starting hand sizes.
Yes. Math is fun, isn't it?
So 7, that's 2 more than 5?
Must be nice to have 7.
2 more.
I can tell you.
It seems like I'd have an advantage if I had 7 cards versus 5. I don't know. We'll see how it works out.
This matchup's always been interesting to me. I feel like it's relatively close. The Stone Forge deck does have a lot of different ways to interact with the opponent. It has discard, has a couple copies of Force Will, just some counter match, not a ton. That 1 Supreme Verdict can catch someone off a guard, and if they are a hedge, the Mind Sculptor can stop Cody's draw step every single turn. Now, getting to that point is a little bit difficult because Elves does try to slide in underneath all that stuff happening, but it can definitely be controlled, and mulligan to 5 certainly doesn't hurt.
Right. I think in game 1, I like Elves pretty significantly in the matchup, but the sideboard for Esper Stoneblade ranges from, not that big a deal for Elves to like a complete crushing, depending on how much they decided they wanted to beat Little Green Men today.
Yeah. As you do see Cody taking a mulligan to 4 here, so going to sideboard is something we might be doing here relatively soon.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Ever the optimist you are. That's nice.
I mean, if a mull to 4 automatically lost you the game, then they wouldn't make you play it out.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
That's wisdom of the years there.
Yeah, and as you brought up, it depends on how the sideboard looks for the Esper Stoneblade deck, because they could have a load of Engineered Plagues. They can have multiple Wrath effects, like multiple Supreme Verdicts. Some people, like Ben Friedman, like the sideboard Terminus. Threaten that with Sensei's Divine on top, which you're actually not going to find in this list, but you can also make it work with a Brainstorm.
That's true.
But looking just very quickly, we will go over this after this game. There's at least 1 Dark Blast here, which is a card that's nice.
I love the 1-of Dark Blast in the sideboard. I sideboard 1-of Dark Blast in like every Black Legacy deck ever. It's so fun.
I'm actually pretty pro Dark Blast as well.
The 1 really is such value. Yeah, there are a lot of cards that are very good against Elves, very specifically good against Elves, and just kind of depends on whether people decide to beat them. One of the odd things about testing with friends, if they indeed are friends, as we surmised earlier, you can sometimes find yourself tilting your sideboard against your friends.
Yeah,
tired of losing to them in testing,
That can happen as Cody keeps his 4 cards, slams on that Wooded Foothills, and we are underway here as Justin's going to start with a Underground Sea and an Inquisition of Kozilek.
Brick. Doesn't brick. Oh, he catches a Nettle Sentinel, revealing Nettle Sentinel Natural Order.
Now, unfortunately for Cody, he doesn't, he has some good natural order targets. He does have a Regal Force there, but he doesn't have anything main deck like a Progenitus, some sort of game breaker that once it resolves, the game is basically going to end.
I don't know, man. Regal Force.
Hey, it's a pretty good magic card.
It's pretty. Oh, Forest off the tippy.
Yep. Is that what we're calling the top now? The tippy?
Yeah, it's the tip top.
You say so.
Or the tippy top, if you prefer.
I
feel like that's childish.
How about the teasy?
The teasy?
Yeah.
I can get down with the teasy. Justin, no turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, so I guess that's something.
Kind of dodged a bullet there. Yep, it's right in with that Nettle Sentinel.
That was aggressive.
Yeah, I
that
like
Nettle
it.
Sentinel poured it all the way.
And we have
if you're gonna keep your creatures behind your lands, you got to make sure you get them above the lands when they attack like that. That's pretty key to the entire interaction.
And we're gonna have a counterspell for that Nettle Sentinel. Justin willing to just counter some things here as we do see a Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, he drew one now, and he has a Flooded Strand, so he can get white mana, and he'll have a Brainstorm available as well. There's some reason, I think, maybe to Brainstorm first.
Yeah, a little bit surprised they didn't Brainstorm first, shuffle away, then search with the Stoneforge Mystic. But maybe his hand is already stocked full enough that, I don't need to Brainstorm anything away.
Just already have the goods. Yeah, you don't need to do that, man.
Yeah. Don't waste your time.
Oh, well, let me hand this deck over back to you. There we go. Trigger, resolve, trigger.
Taking a look at Justin's main deck, he of course does have the Battered Skull. Some players do start Umzawa, some leaving the sideboard, but you will find one of those main deck here. No Sword of Feast and Famine in the main deck, so just the two pieces.
Sporting.
Yeah, nice guy. Really nice guy.
He is going to go ahead and get that Jitte, and if Cody doesn't do something really, really soon, the Jitte will very easily take over the game.
Because that's what it does.
Geary, to the person who had a playmat drawn with a female astronaut, at your convenience, please go back to the artist. He would like to get a photograph of the playmat for his records. Once again, if you had a playmat done by Clint Geary, a female astronaut, please head back and speak with him.
A female astronaut, you say?
Yeah. I bet it's nice.
Our artist in residence for the weekend, Clint Geary, apparently did a female astronaut playmat. Interesting.
Whatever the people want.
Maybe Syncopate as a female astronaut? That's what I'm hoping for, personally.
I like that Syncopate artwork.
So do I.
I'm a big fan of that.
It's wonderful.
People make fun of me for liking the finger wag. I think it's cool.
I mean, I'm just on the short-haired brunette train, but, whatever. Like, finger wags your game, I guess. We can run with it.
To each their own. As we do see Nettle Sentinel coming across here.
That's a bold
Cody.
move, Cotton.
Yeah, yep.
I might just block.
Yeah, blocking's going to get him far.
Attacking's not going to get him any farther. If Justin has a fourth land, he can go ahead, equip attack, and just kill everything on Cody's board.
Maybe we're hoping there's no fourth land.
I guess if you gotta get lucky, you might as well pick your spots, right?
And there's a fourth land.
Well, we picked poorly.
Spot not chosen well.
Occupied by Justin's fourth land.
Justin really contemplating some things here. I can't imagine that he's not just going to slam Umzawa and equip it and attack. So you're going to see a sack of the Polluted Delta here. What have you got to lose? Going to get himself an island. And get that baby online. Or don't, is what Cody's thinking.
Yeah, I can't really imagine. Like, we know everything, right? Cody has
He's got
natural
all
order
the-
in hand.
yeah.
I have a creature that can attack.
Yeah, all the information.
I can attack with it. There we go. I guess he's going to block. Well, that lets us actually kill everything, whereas before we could only kill one thing.
I think there, obviously this is a dire situation for him. I think, I take the damage. I hope he kills the Nettle Sentinel, and then I hope I draw the fourth land for the natural order.
Right. But Justin... Apparently he did take the damage, and Cody just lost to Dryad.
Okay, fair enough then.
Which is what Justin should do in that situation.
Yep.
You really don't just have to hope for him to punt.
Yeah.
Which he didn't.
So Justin Geary up a game after Cody Napier's mulligan to 4 with his Combo Elves deck. Justin playing Usper Stoneblade. Now Glenn, I know that you have Cody's deck list in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to, outside of maybe keeping 7 cards instead of starting with 4?
Yeah, I imagine
he's sideboard.
I imagine he's going to try for 7 cards this time around. Smart. Beyond that, Cabal Therapy is a handy card in this matchup for sure. And Abrupt Decay is reasonable. I'm not excited by it. He didn't really see Justin's deck list, but as we surmise, they may just already know each other. So possible he'll bring in some Abrupt Decays. They really only answer Jitte. They're not especially effective anywhere else. That said, Jitte's a big problem. If he suspects Counterbalance, that might incentivize him to bring it in, but we know that Justin does not have access to that effect.
No.
So the only card that I know for sure he should be wanting is Cabal Therapy.
You know, we do have the benefit of perfect information, and you know, when you are playing combo elves, there are a lot of different cards that you are scared of from an Esper Stoneblade deck, be it Engineered Plague, be it Dark Blast, be it Perish. You do find one copy of Perish here in Justin's sideboard. You find one copy of Dark Blast, no copies of Engineered Plague. You also find additional copy of Supreme Verdict to go with his one main deck one. Spell Snare is okay. It's not great. And then you will find, for his equipment package, a copy of Sword of Feast and Famine, which may be a little bit more useful than the Batter Skull in this particular matchup. No guarantees there, but I don't know if you want 3 equipment in your deck with Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, three's a lot, especially when they're all good.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're situationally good, just pretty much on any board, you'd be pretty happy to have any one of them. So, yeah, I guess it kind of depends on exactly how Justin plans to make things go here. I kind of get the feeling that the sword is better than the Batter Skull. That's just my guess. Yeah, especially considering Wirewood Symbiote is in the mix to just keep you from gaining life.
Yeah.
You already have that vulnerability with Jitte, so you don't really want 2 equipment that both require you to connect.
Sure. Yeah, I think there are definitely situations in board states where Batter Skull will be the end-all, be-all. I'm not sure how often they exist. And for that reason, I think I agree with you. A Sword of Feast and Famine is likely going to always be good.
Yep.
You know, once you're able to start unloading all of your cards at once while attacking their hand and their life total, which is what makes that card so good. You know, I think if he can get it online, it's gonna be ideal.
I agree.
Tough matchup here. I mean, Esper Stoneblade. The thing that's interesting about this deck is that it doesn't do anything great, but it does a lot of things good.
Yes.
You know, it has, again, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Inquisition, so it's got a little bit of proactive disruption. It has, you know, 3 Force of Wolves and a counter spell, along with 2 Spell Pierces, so it's got some reactive elements to it. It's got a Supreme Verdict to, you know, kind of reset things. It's got some equipment. It's got some manipulation and Brainstorm and Ponder. It's got some spot removal in Source of Plowshares, you know, so it does a little bit of everything. Again, it doesn't do anything particularly great. It doesn't put a fast clock on the opponent. It doesn't shred their hand very well. It can't go to battle and counter war, but, you know, it's got these elements. And it, you know, just, your versatile legacy deck.
Yeah, Esper Stoneblade is definitely the deck for players who just want to be able to beat everyone, but don't want to crush anyone.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much just sums it up. They're happy taking small margins, a 55 here, a 45 there, and leaning on their skill and their opponent's mistakes to convert those into victories.
Yeah, if you're okay being 51% against everything, I think this might be the deck for you. In some matchups, you might be 49%.
Yeah, maybe. I will say, I think Justin's sideboard, it seems to have elves in mind, or at least happens to be strong against it. Between Supreme Verdict main, another one side, a Perish, which is effectively another copy, the Dark Blast, you know, Sword of Feast and Famine, he's got a lot going on there. I could even see Spell Snare coming in, as it's reasonable against Green Sun Zenith for 1, and against Recast Elvish Visionaries.
Yeah. And he's got 2 copies of those in his sideboard. Again, not a great card, but I think he'd much rather have that than Spell Pierce. Though, you know, Spell Pierce does have some value here. There are natural orders to be countered. There are Green Sun Zenith, as you said, as well. You know, if Cody does get a little lazy, you can actually catch a glimpse of nature with that card. So I have seen
real lazy.
I have seen Spell Pierce counter some relevant things in this matchup where I thought maybe the opponent should sideboard it out. But, you know, there are arguments to be made for both sides of those cards. They're both situational counterspells.
Yep. I feel like I would rather go with Snare, just because when my opponent's, you know, his deck's really humming, the 2 mana is going to be pretty easy to pay. And generally, I like to try and tilt my cards against the situations where I am behind. Because if I draw one that's bad when I'm behind, I'm going to just be frustrated and further behind.
Yeah.
Spell Snare might be able to dig you out of someone who's just casually looping those Elvish Visionaries on you. Very frustrating spot to be in. Often surprisingly difficult to break up.
So you do see Cody Napier is going to keep his opening hand. He actually drew 7 cards and did the old snap keep.
Oh.
Something you don't see too often on the SCG Live broadcast. So I like when a player does bring that out. And Justin looked at his opening hand, gave us a little bit of a frowny face, and is going down to 6.
Fair's fair, you know.
Is it fair? Is it fair? Uh-oh, he's trying to show us his hand. There's at least a glimpse of nature.
I saw that much. He must like it a lot to be
he's
showing off.
Feels a little more confident last game.
Yeah.
That's for darn sure.
I mean, he almost got there, right?
Depends on your definition of almost. I know what mine is, and I wouldn't call it that. So let's see what Justin can muster here on a 6-carder at the very least.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. See, at least a Flutter Strand down there. Oh, right back in.
This is a battle.
Cody happy for the equalization.
Yeah, is this a battle of mulligans here? Are we going to get one good game out of this match?
If there was a crowd, he might have just turned around and started high-fiving.
Yep.
You know, mulligans are a funny thing. It happens. Like, you just know some percentage of the time, you know, you're going to have to mulligan. Obviously, we remember mulligans.
Yes.
They stick with us.
Yes.
One of my more amusing PTQs was a finals, actually, against an Atlanta player who's been in attendance this weekend, in which, in the first game, I mulliganed to 4. Very nearly, I got crushed. Like, just didn't do anything. Second game, he mulliganed to 4. Very, very close game.
Okay.
in which he was able to not actually kill me.
Okay.
Leading to a third game. So it really felt like we were playing a best of 1 at that point, except that the second game had demoralized me quite significantly.
I can't get a freebie?
Yeah. The freebies aren't free. Now that's when you know you've got a bad match.
That is definitely true.
The Mulda 4s are dangerous. Oh. Well, Justin hoping for a 5 he can keep. He doesn't want to do a true equilibrium here and go to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the draw, so really it's like
they're like free mulligans.
Yeah, free. Yeah.
That's how being on the draw works.
Yeah, he's good on 5. Got a land, got a brainstorm. Easy game.
We are underway, as we do see Cody start off here with a Llanowar Elf.
I think he's gonna fetch a forest.
I think it's gonna be a Bayou.
You were a little slow. I can't give you full credit on that one. And to be fair, Bayou is a forest.
Yep, you always win.
I do.
You
I
find
try.
a way.
Marsh Flats. I see a Stoneforge Mystic, I think, in Justin's hand. So he's got a little bit of game to him. Stoneforge Mystic, one of Esper Stoneblade's various unmulligans, as I like to say.
Yep. There's a lot of those, actually.
Yeah. I think that's why all those players like it so much.
Yeah. It's weird to just see this deck that has, 2 of this, 2 of that, 3 of this, 3 of that, a couple of this, a little sprinkle here, a little dash there, and it's a deck that's so successful.
2 mana. Elvish Visionary. No Spell Snare.
Heritage Druid, the draw off of that.
Yep, that's a nice one. He's got a Gaia's Cradle. That means he's going to get some stuff going on this turn.
Look at us go.
Quirion Ranger. Yep.
And while he is reading that, we will bring Quirion Ranger
good.
up on the screen for you guys, see the interactions with that card.
Quirion Ranger, one of the nice additions that made Deathrite Shaman much better in Elves, I think.
Yeah.
Those two go hand in hand quite well.
This is just a Tundra Pass.
Interestingly, that Cody did not drop his Heritage Druid. He held it to cast Glimpse of Nature this turn.
As you guys do see the Quirion Ranger on the screen, return a force you control and tap target creature. We will probably be seeing some of that this turn.
Justin's fetching. That kind of implies Counterspell here. Potentially he will Brainstorm, but that doesn't seem likely. I don't know why he would do that before fetching, or do that after fetching, I should say. I imagine he just has his 1 of Counterspell.
That's what we see.
Ding! Shiny. Well, that leaves Cody looking for something else to do.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they mean when they say, the threat of the combo is part of what makes this deck so good.
We're doing a storm count?
Yeah. These two clearly know each other.
I
think we fully established that as we see an attack here for 3 from Cody.
That's adorable. Land Parish, that is. He's got a Karakas. He's got a Swamp, Vendilion Click, and a Jace, I believe, is his other card. So he's got 1 card I don't know of, I think.
There's your Karakas.
Yeah, I see Swamp, Vendilion Click, Jace, and another card. It's not a Parish. Or, this is the world's greediest man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
See a draw step?
Vendilion Click.
Heritage
Druid and lands. Well, I guess you cycle it, right? Like, I don't know. It's not that threatening, to be honest.
Do you cycle it?
I wouldn't, I don't think,
yeah,
but
I wouldn't cycle it either.
Justin immediately set it aside, kind of implies he plans to. I'm not sure.
There are a lot of better draws available.
Yes. He's going to cycle
He is going to take it.
Like, I kind of wanted a Green Sun Zenith to just happen right there. Like, that is.
Yep. Get a Wirewood Symbiote or what have you.
Wirewood Symbiote would be good.
Yep.
Green Sun Zenith is good. Natural Order is good. Can he just cast Regal Force too? Was that no? He's a little shy. No, he can do that. He has Deathrite Shaman and Lawnmower Elf. Yeah, could have just cast a Regal Force.
Yeah, I think you just let the Heritage Druid go. Then you have perfect information of what can happen.
Yep.
No reason to give your opponent a random draw there, but Justin did dodge the bullet as Cody drew a Misty Rainforest off of it. So.
In fact, Elvish Visionary is a redraw as well. He had lots of cards there that could have gotten really dangerous.
You did see a Deathrite Shaman activation there on Cody's main phase, taking care of the counter spell.
Yep.
Quinn Ranger return to Forest. Untap the Deathrite Shaman. Now you see these Knuckleheads getting in here.
Yeah.
I think there you can probably attack with the Queen Ranger as well because, by letting the Vendilion Click stick around, Caracas plus Vendilion Click is something that is threatening right now.
Yeah.
It's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it is there.
I agree. I think I would have attacked. If he wanted to trade there, it's really not that bad. Your Deathrite Shaman isn't doing double duty in this game anyway. Your opponent's mulligan, you can't fill the graveyard with spells that quickly. You don't have any more spells. Your tapping and untapping is really not going to break the game open. Plus, with all the lands in your hand, you've already got an extra mana a turn pretty much as often as you want it. Justin probably just going to tap out for Jace here. I can't really imagine him not wanting to do that. He knows his opponent has nothing. Might as well play Jace. I would probably be Fate Sealing. Maybe you Brainstorm.
Yeah, maybe pushing up to 5 so it can't die this turn and then Brainstorming so you can defend it.
Yeah, Cody probably shouldn't have cracked that fetch on his own turn. I understand wanting to thin the deck, but you probably should just leave it until the opponent's turn, generally speaking. Goes to the bottom.
To the bottom. Must be a good one.
Cody was not punished for that fetch, so yeah, it looks like he might have some stuff.
And Justin considering attacking you with Vendilion Click.
He can't lose his Jace if he does, so I think it's a fine attack, honestly.
He opts to hang back. We're going to see Cody remove the last spell in graveyards for now, which is the Glimpse of Nature that was countered by that counter spell.
By opting to hang back, I kind of wonder whether he plans to block. If he doesn't, then I don't think he should have. Gaddock Teague came in.
You're a little late.
It's a little late. Gaddock Teague, I hadn't really considered that a sideboard, but now that you think about it, if you know that your friend here is playing some Supreme Verdicts, Gaddock Teague starts looking a lot better.
Yeah, it certainly does. Now, if your opponent's on Perishes and Engineered Plagues, Gaddock Teague, you can stay at home.
So I feel like that implies, again, knowledge of one another's lists. And he fetches, has to this time, because the only way to get a Gaddock Teague out is Deathrite Shaman. If he doesn't, I still might not, actually. I still might just hold the fetch, burn a land with Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, again, because if Jace is Fate Sealing, you would like to be able to clear your deck with a fetch land, if that situation does arise.
Trying to get through Jace Fate Seal and Vendilion Click Caracas sounds relatively nightmarish. Perhaps he's really sure Justin's just going to Brainstorm next turn. Again, like, if I'm Justin, I probably do Brainstorm with Jace next turn, but...
As you do see the Cradle being tapped, plus the Gaddock Teague. Gaddock Teague card that's being read, we'll bring up for you guys here. My enemy, he may be a Kithkin, but doesn't let me
friend of yours?
Doesn't let me cast Spectral Procession, so no friend of mine. I don't like him.
Not a fan.
We could have been great together.
Played Gaddock Teague a few times in my day. I'm not gonna lie. We haven't been great together. We've just been reasonable companions.
Such a hater that old man is. So we see a swamp here from Justin, and now
Cody ignores the Jace and attacks.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm a little bit confused on what Cody's trying to accomplish, what his game plan is, right? Because, if he's trying to get at his life total, then why isn't Queer and Dryad attacking? I feel like, either you're trying to kill Jace or you're trying to get your opponent dead so that Jace's advantage doesn't start to snowball. So what are we doing with Queer and Dryad this particular game?
Queer and Ranger, but
Queer and Ranger, excuse me.
I agree. I think the Queer and Ranger should have been swinging in. We'd have gotten in, probably at least one more point, maybe more at this stage. And our Deathrite Shaman's untap ability with the Quirion Ranger, while a nice synergy, is not actually being used. So, you know, what's going on? He may be Karakusing Gaddock Teeg here to clear for a... Or he can't Supreme Verdict. He needs 2 whites, so I guess he's not going to do that. Perhaps he himself noticed that, actually. I think he might have. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a Supreme Verdict, actually.
He also has the option, right, of just bouncing the Gaddock Teeg with Jace the Mind Sculptor and then just clearing away.
Well, yeah, but then you don't get to Brainstorm. I mean, that's...
He doesn't get to keep his Vidillion Click either, I understand.
It's gross.
There's some things that have to happen here.
He is going to bounce the Gaddock Teeg and Supreme Verdict. That looks like what's going to happen. Oh, he's bouncing
this one.
Whoa, now I don't know what's going to happen. That was weird. I'm confused.
I don't know what's going to happen either. He's just going to pass the turn back.
I mean, I guess, yeah. We're just going to check the draw step, player Vidillion Click, perhaps during the end step Karakas the Gaddock Teeg, and that's our master plan. That's a good cycle.
That's
sort of.
one that's... I mean, that one's got to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's got to go bye-bye.
It's not significantly better than the next card off the top, but it is better.
And then Guy's Cradle is the draw.
Yep. Justin, perhaps at the stage where he just wants to attack with everybody.
Yeah, I think it's an issue. Can't stop, won't stop.
It's getting close.
Gotta get your opponent dead.
If that Ranger had swung in a couple turns, an Alpha would certainly look a lot more appealing. Yeah, he's gonna send everyone but Deathrite Shaman. All right.
And again, I think you have to. I think you need to assess the situation here as well with Deathrite Shaman. Something is certainly up here. If you're Cody, there has to be something going off in your head. Like, my opponent bounced his Vidillion Click with his Jace when he has a Karakas.
Yep.
You know, so something is definitely going on here that I need to get this game over with, because my creatures can't be living for much longer. So I think that, you know, he's missing out on points of damage here that may end up mattering at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting question as to whether or not, you know, Justin has the Supreme Verdict if you're Cody. Obviously, like, he basically played to take 3 damage and clear Cody's next draw step. So he traded a Bolt for a Click activation, sort of. So I don't know if I would be, you know, on 8 life making that call. It's a tough spot.
So now you see Vidillion Click trade with the Gaddock Teeg.
That certainly eases up Justin's life. And the fact that he didn't bounce the Vidillion Click back with Karakas kind of implies the Supreme Verdict. Now we see the Supreme Verdict for sure. He definitely has it. He Fate Seals, puts it on the bottom. Did Cody not play a fetch land last turn?
He didn't, no.
That was loose. We definitely should have played a fetch land, but we have once again not been punished as the card went to the bottom.
Yeah. I don't think there's any reason to hold on to these.
Justin tapping just so.
Gonna take care of that Vidillion Click, get himself 2 more life. But again, yeah, he has dodged some bullets here with the Fate Seals, as the fetch lands let you reset your deck, shuffle that away. You're gonna see an Inquisition of Kozilek here from Justin.
He's gonna see all those fetch lands.
He's gonna see all those lands, and that guy is Cradle. So he's done a nice job of stabilizing here.
Yep, very nice. He has a Jace with 6 counters against an opponent with no non-land permanents and 4 lands in hand. Seems like a pretty good spot.
And we're going to see a Deathrite Shaman.
Another big incentive to having played these lands is if you draw a natural order, being able to fetch your way into Dryad Arbor and sacrifice it immediately is, a big deal.
C5, we're going to bounce the Deathrite Shaman.
It's a reasonable choice. Snapcaster Mage, Inquisition, Deathrite Shaman.
Okay.
That's a nice play. I like that one. At 5 life, he is pretty vulnerable to a Deathrite Shaman. Should Cody have drawn, another Quirion Ranger or a Zenith to get him something like that, then could have been under a lot of pressure in short order.
So you see Cody's going to search for a Dryad Arbor here, potential threat in natural order.
Yep.
He does have a Progenitus in his sideboard. Not sure if he brought it in, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
I would kind of. I mean, Supreme Verdict and Perish, that's a lot of stuff to dodge.
No fear.
No fear.
Can't live your life scared, Glenn.
I mean, I don't have to live my life scared. I can live it in play, though.
Take a draw. For some reason, I don't think it's natural. We're going to see an attack for 1. I think I'm trading almost instantly here.
Yeah, snap.
If I'm Justin, I couldn't trade faster with my Snapcaster Mage. There's
This
a
guy.
Wirewoods Symbiote.
Now play our fetch.
We'll play
Yep.
Wooded Foothills and pass the turn back. So we have a very clear board and Jace the Mind Sculptor. I feel like we've seen this before. Who normally wins this war?
Jace, actually.
Oh.
We see him brainstorm into 2 Forces and a Stoneforge Mystic, I believe. That's what we call the goods.
Oh. Jace normally wins this war.
Stoneforge Mystic. I imagine we're going to get the sword because we're facing a Wirewood Symbiote, but maybe we get Jite? Like, if our opponent just draws an elf. Or no, well, I guess we have Jace bounce, so
Yeah.
we can beat him drawing an elf here. That's fair. We have to trade a Brainstorm to do it.
So you're going to see Justin sacrifice the Flooded Terrain, go down to 4. He's going
Play
to
and
search for his
equip.
elf Jite, yeah, play it and equip it.
Yeah.
Pass the turn back.
All right, now I like this line. We can rely on Jace to make sure that we don't get got, as it were.
Yep.
Although Elvish Visionary would actually still be a problem.
That would be a good
Elvish
start
Visionary
to the turn.
hitting another elf, so he has 4 greens on Zenith and 2 Visionaries left. So he has basically like 6 good ones that he can peel here. I can't think of any others that sound particularly impressive. I suppose if we boarded in Abrupt Decay, that would also be a pretty good draw.
Yeah, that one wouldn't hurt. It would be a temporary solution to a small... I mean, it would be a permanent solution to one of the smaller problems on the board.
Sure.
Jace being, I think, the biggest issue.
I think the thing is the elf deck can actually beat Jace going along. Harmonic Sliver, got him.
Had it. That's what the kids say, right?
That's a nice one.
I'm not too old yet. I can still use the hip lingo.
Obviously, Jace Brainstorming is like pretty big game. The elf deck can actually do some things that are, you know, a little higher velocity and equally degenerate.
We're going to see...
Bounce, Stoneforge Mystic, go get something else.
I like it.
This plays fine. Considering how stable the board is, I might just have brainstormed. I think he just added 2 mana to his mana pool. He kept in the Batterskull. Okay.
Yeah. I had a feeling he might just have all 3 equipment because all 3 are so good.
Yeah.
And there's a situation where they're each good.
It's
Like,
fair.
this is the situation where Batterskull's good. And then he can bounce the Stoneforge again to get the Sword of Feast and Famine, and then Batterskull becomes a unblockable 6/6 lifelinker.
Yeah, once it becomes unblockable, it's definitely a pretty big game. That turn will also be a freebie, as it were.
Yeah. So let's see what Cody can come up with.
It's got some nice
He's
ones.
knocking on the deck.
Natural Order's a nice one.
Natural Order.
I like that one.
Are we forcibly? Do we have a blue card? We do.
We have an extra Jace. That worked out. We're still not out of it if we're Cody.
That worked out.
I mean, it did.
Not so bad.
According to plans. Fate Seal. Check the top. Leave it. That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy.
I think we should probably just activate, put in Batterskull, and bounce Jace, actually. I think I would have liked to do that. And then just replay Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, instead of Fate Sealing. Like, what's going to actually beat that line? I can't think of anything. It's just cast Batterskull, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, he knows.
A little uncivilized. But
Yeah. Yeah. He knows the top card of Cody's deck right now is irrelevant. But again, I he's going through,
it works out basically the same.
Yes,
here.
he's going through some different motions to get this game locked up. Maybe they're not the most efficient manner.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to agree on that. But
Actually, his play might even be superior.
But overall, I think he's doing okay. And with having 7 lands in play, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he has 7 lands in play. If the Sword of Feast and Famine is in his deck, he can bounce the Stoneforge, search for the sword, play it and equip it, bash, untap everything.
And it's not like he fears his Stoneforge Mystic dying, so the 1 damage is basically free since he's just going to spend this turn getting the equipment.
Yeah.
The turn in which the equipment actually matters. So I guess it works out fine.
Yeah.
He was rewarded even.
Yeah. See, I don't even have to bounce my own guy. Now I can Fate Seal you too. And there's my Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yep.
And I'm going to
It's
sack my
looking
Delta
grim.
to get my land, go down to 3, And then I'm going to end up going up to 9.
Cody will be discarding Gaia's Cradle this turn.
Don't want to miss that trigger.
Don't want to miss that trigger. Sort of Feast and Famine on the Batter Skull. Justin at a perilous 2 life.
Get in there, Stoneforge.
That's about to change.
I think Cody is coming to realization here.
I'm gonna lose this game? This is ridiculous.
Tap all of them their lands.
We do need to pitch the Cradle. There it goes.
Jace.
Fate Seal.
Let me take a look. It's in a book.
Now, what's your play against a fetch land when you're Jace Fate Sealing? Do you look, do you pause, then put it back? Do you look, snap, put it back? Do you look, bottom it if it's good? What do you do? What's your game?
Depends on the day, really. I've been known to troll a man, leave his best card up there, knowing that he'll sacrifice and then look. But in most cases, if it's a good card, I'm going to put it on the bottom.
I've seen it get pretty awkward. I believe I saw Calcano like leave a sneak attack on top and then just die to it immediately.
Yeah. Thinking his opponent would sacrifice
something like that. Yeah. He's like, that was probably a little loose. And I was like, yeah, you think?
So you
I'm trying to remember who that was against too now. It was definitely one of the funnier games I saw.
Yeah, you know, you can play a little game inside the gamesmanship there. Not too big of a fan of doing that. I'm just too stupid to do it right, really.
He did shuffle and fail to find a land as all of his lands are in play. Something might not have noticed. One of the downsides of the, well, I guess downsides.
Yep, that's
kind of
hard to say.
We're done here, yeah.
Cody Napier going to concede the game. Justin Geary 2-0 with his Extra Stone Blade deck over Cody Napier, and Combo Elves never got to combo.
Well, the post-board game, even on 5, Justin's deck was tuned, got better in the matchup. He didn't even draw very many of his sideboard cards, but the one that he did play